But there's nothing like the Board of Trustees or being chair. So thank you very, very much for your trust. This year in particular holds a special meaning because we have a president beginning his tenure here at the university. Welcome, President Tate. We're only a few months into your tenure, but we already feel the energy and impact of your leadership, and we're eager to see the amazing new heights you will take Rutgers to. Before we begin, I'd like to also welcome 6 new trustees who have joined us this year. And if you've not already done so, please take time to meet them and chat with them after this session closes. I'd also like to welcome the return of Dr. Wendy Purcell, Vice Chair for Education and Professor of Department of Environmental and Occupational Health and Justice, Rutgers School of Public Health, and Dr. Robert Schwartz, Professor and Head Dermatology, Rutgers, New Jersey Medical School, as this year's Senate representatives to the Board of Trustees. And welcome Ariel Berkowitz and Shadara and Tiwanka Ifanyi, who will serve as this year's student representatives to the Board of Trustees. So as we enter this new academic year, we have the pleasure of inducting new and returning members to the Board of Trustees. So I will call your names, and I would like you to proceed to the microphone at the podium. Danielle Becta, Deborah DeSantis, Peter DeNegris, Chris Foglio, Walter McDonald, and Yehi Patel. He told me don't bother with my middle name, so I didn't. Maria Vallejo. And also new and reappointed members who are participating via Zoom. Please unmute your microphones, Chris Godoy and Elsie Perez. I'm sure they're there. Now I would like to ask Mr. William Kastner, Executive Vice President for Legal Affairs and General Counsel, and member of the Bar of the State of New Jersey, to administer the oath of allegiance and office.
Thank you, Chairman. Please raise your right hand. I state your name.
I, Nick Patel,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to
and to the governments established in the United States
the governments established in the United States
and in this state
and the state
under the authority of the people,
under the authority of the people,
and that I will faithfully, impartially, and justly
and that I will faithfully, impartially, and justly
perform all the duties of
perform all the duties of
the office of member of
the office of member of
the Board of Trustees of Rutgers, the State University of New Jersey,
Trustees, Rutgers, State of New Jersey,
according to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability.
And this is optional, so help me God. Congratulations.
Congratulations. President Tate, I turn over the gavel to you, sir.
Well, it's great to be here. Congratulations to the new trustees, and thank you to those of you who are continuing in your service. I pondered what I would say to you on this, my first meeting with this body. And as I always do, I turn to history and language to best understand how to address you. The term trustee traces its name from the word trust, the noun trust, which is also taken from an Old Norse term called trast, think I'm pronouncing it correctly, which means faith, protection, and confidence. So what exactly are we putting our faith, protection, and confidence in, or what role does that leave for you? I think fundamentally, I think about it biologically. The university has a heartbeat. It's called a student, and it has a brain. It's called research. And in essence, your role, and people expect you to protect the heartbeat. They have faith that you would do so in a way that makes sure our students are protected very well. But they also expect you to protect the thing that the public has come to trust universities for, and that's its research. They want to have confidence in the evidence that we produce. It's quite a responsibility when you really think about it from a historical perspective. A bit about the heartbeat of the university, our students. Well, I give credit to chancellors and their teams. They have set the course for a tremendous increase in the undergraduate and graduate student population, a 4% increase from the past year. Over 72,000 students are now matriculating in fall 2025 at Rutgers. 52,000 of them are undergraduates. That's a 4.6 increase. Fall first year enrollment was up 4.2%, over 11,000, almost 11,500 students. Transfer enrollment is up almost 9% at almost 4,000 students. Enrollment is up at every single entity in the Rutgers family. Here at Camden, you're at a whopping 7.6% increase. Congratulations. And on average, enrollment is up about 4% at all the rest of the campuses, including Rutgers Health, Newark, and New Brunswick. That's quite positive, and I commend everyone who was a part of building that enrollment growth. The public has confidence in us because we are a research entity. We're an evidence-driven body. And in fiscal year 2025, Rutgers had $993 million of research. I just want to stop and say, sometimes we hear numbers and you just hear the number. You don't fundamentally understand what is embedded in that number. There are actual people who are doing things that are really at the edge of possibility, and they're doing it across a wide span of areas: the biomedical sciences, agriculture, business, social science, some folks even looking at big public policy, and every one of them impacting people. That number also could be multiplied by 3. That's the economic impact of just the research. That's now almost $3 billion of economic impact. That's life-changing for many families. So it's not only life-changing in terms of the evidence produced, it's life-changing because it's actually having an impact on families and their ability to take care of themselves and each other. So it's quite powerful. And I want to commend everyone who's engaged in the research enterprise, the confidence building enterprise at Rutgers University. Very, very special. It should be noted this past year, about 74 projects were canceled at about $28 million. We were able to get a lot of that money back by reapplying and making clear that many of the things that were in those projects they just have to be here for civil society. So I want to commend those who worked very hard to get that money back. It's outstanding. Now, brains and heart, I've had some observations. I told the executive committee when I met with them earlier that I've seen Rutgers in a way that I couldn't have seen it as an applicant just looking on the internet. I've had an opportunity to glean firsthand what Rutgers really is. It's quite a special place. I'm going to offer you, just because you're so important for the trust and the faith and the protection, a couple of observations that I think are low-hanging fruit that I've talked to the chancellors about in what we should aim for. I won't deal with strategies. tactics and KPIs, not today. At some point in the very near future, we will have a strategy plan for you in a collective way. But here's some things I see. And I'm not going to start with Camden, Chancellor, because I know you have I'm getting to you though. In New Brunswick, and I talked to Chancellor Conway about this, and we believe we can get there. We will aspire for that campus to be a top 10 public university. And I would say top 5, but I don't know if 6, 7, 8, people don't just get out of your way when you want to move up. It doesn't work that way. You don't just declare it and just, you have to be very responsible. But I believe we can reverse engineer and get to strategy that will allow us to do that. Now I'm going to call the chancellor out. She had a wonderful event for me this week. And I said something about filmmaking to you. You recall that? And you said theater to me. Okay, you pick one. But I firmly believe that we should aspire in one of those areas that's humanistically oriented to be nationally top 10. And I've asked the chancellor to also pick a set of departments that could be in the top 10, because it's not just enough that the institution gets ranked in US News and World Report. It's that you have the departments that are simultaneously aligned. Because the business school spans, I'm going to mention it while I'm mentioning New Brunswick, although I do know it is also in Newark. I'm going to say this with certitude here, that it's a Big Ten business school, no matter where you put it. Lean into that. And I frankly think that we should have, and I'm going to call it X number of subfields today that are in the top 10 for what they do. We have to reverse engineer to make that happen. I'm going to stay in New Brunswick, and I'm going to be political. I'm going to say the biomedical corridor in Middlesex County. I think that's a big thing to say here. You all are really into counties. Middlesex County be ranked in the top 5 metro in the United States. Right now, when we think about the top counties or areas that are related to that, you're going to go to Boston, you're going to go to San Francisco, you're going to go to the DMV, et cetera. They always say New York, New Jersey is number 4. I don't know what that means, but I do know what it means if I say you're in the top 5 in Middlesex County. I understand that geospatially. I'm going to turn to Newark. What a special place. Quite frankly, I think Newark should aspire to be a R1 university, Research 1. That means they will change the face of what's happening in research in the country, because they're graduating enough PhD students and they receive enough research expenditures to be counted as a R1. I think it can make it to the top 30 public in the United States of America. And I'm committed to that. The Jazz Institute, I don't know how you rank these, but I want everybody to say it's the world's best. Transparently, every single time they mention it. So it's a place where research is happening. It's a place where you have world-class jazz. And quite frankly, I see no reason. There's 1.4 miles between those campuses in the health corridor and Newark. If that is actually developed in the way it should be, it could be mentioned in the same breath as University of Alabama, Birmingham, the University of Illinois, Chicago, as an anchor, but also deeply connected because those two campuses are now talking to each other and working together. That is a commitment I'm making to you. That is an aim that we should have. They should not be working in parallel play like 2-year-olds. They should be working together in a simultaneous fashion. Now, we are in Camden. It's like home. I'm going to say this to you. I believe and we will work for this campus to be a top 40 public university in the United States of America. It's feasible, it's possible, and we're going to work for that to happen. Rutgers Health, and by the way, the chancellor's already working on it, and some subfields, correct? There you go. Rutgers Health, I'll start with cancer. Some set of subfields should be considered to be in the top 5. We have to figure out what those are and make a reverse engineer the investment. Clinical departments, I looked that up. We've got to find something that are gonna make the top 25. That's gonna be hard work, but we should get there. I was unbelievably impressed with brain health. But I said to them, and I'll say it here, it's a world-class environment that nobody really knows about. And it hasn't really gelled in a way that it could be talked about in a unified fashion. It could easily be in the top 5. I looked up the Blue Ridge numbers. They're past most of the places there. It's just how we count. Am I right? It's an accounting problem that we can solve. I'm not talking about you, Mike. Don't get paranoid. I'm just talking about how we count research. So there's a way to get there. Rutgers Law, again, lean into being a Big Ten environment. It doesn't matter if it's in Camden or Newark. It's a Big Ten law school. I'm going to say this to you all. Lean into the brand. Everyone else is. If it's a Big Ten law school, then it should be a top 50 law school, right? Fair enough? It's the way it works. Athletics, well, what am I going to say? I was born in the cradle of the Big Ten. I can't take that away. My mother and father, I was born in Chicago. I can't change that. Born listening to Michigan fight songs. That's what I told people. It's just painful, right? But here's the deal. We're in the Big Ten. We should compete like we're in the Big Ten. And so Kelly has a lot. I don't know if Kelly might not be here. She's probably out raising money because that's what you have to do to compete. And we don't just have athletics in Newark. I mean, in New Brunswick. We have it in Newark and we have it in Camden. And I'm going to say this. I don't want to put any pressure on my friends in Newark and Camden. But when I was growing up, I used to always think there were really good basketball players in Newark and Camden. I used to see them all the time. I need to see them on your teams. Let's win. We can do it. It doesn't matter the level you're in, you should win. And then operationally, I told Chairman Johnson, I told the executive committee, I'm really committed to having a transparent financial budget process that we can all understand, we can see it and link it to the strategy that we're going to have to outline to meet the aims I just articulated. We can track it in terms of what tactics are being implemented and what other indicators that we can then see the trends of our investment in time. What I'm saying to you is the same thing I said at LSU about 4.5 years ago. We're going to build a modern business enterprise and drive this thing forward, and we're going to win. Just like we did there, we're going to do it here. The only difference is the ingredients here are much better than Louisiana. So we have to make a better cake because we have better inputs. But we're going to make that happen. I'm excited about the possibilities here. I've seen nothing but high quality research. I've seen amazing faculty. I've seen committed administrators. And so I have no reason to believe that we will not be able to attain some of the aims that I articulated to you today. I will conclude with, it's my honor to serve, and I look forward to working with each of you. Thank you.
Are there a couple of questions for President Tate?
What a nice group.
Yes. You answered all those questions as you were going through your talk.
You should have new questions. I'm just teasing. Whatever, yeah.
So thank you very much for those remarks. Actually very inspiring, and we will all work on those initiatives together, I'm sure. I'd like to now turn to Chancellor Tillis for his comments and report on Rutgers University Camden, and I believe Chancellor Tillis will include points of pride in his discussion at this time. Thank you very much.
How do I make this work? There we are. I begin anew. Good afternoon. And thank you, Chairman Johnson. Welcome, President Tate, and members of the Rutgers Board of Trustees, Rutgers Camden, Rutgers writ large, colleagues, and members of the community. You know, it's always a pleasure to have this moment to where I can share with you the excitement and opportunities that have transpired here down in the South in this little engine of Rutgers since the last board meeting. All right, here we are. As you are aware, Rutgers Camden, our mission, value, and strategic direction form the foundation of all that we do. Our campus is a place of rich history, which will mark 100 years of academic excellence in South Jersey as we celebrate our centennial throughout 2026. And our campus is a modern, agile space that continuously evolves to serve the needs of the 21st century student, our faculty and staff, as well as our community at large. We are proud of our location in the eds and meds community at large here in Camden. We are also proud that we are in the downtown district of Camden and to serve as the anchor institution for the Delaware Valley, forging economic growth and stability within Camden City, the state of New Jersey, and beyond for Rutgers, the State University of New Jersey. I'm excited to welcome 3 new members to the leadership team at Rutgers Camden. Olivia Glenn is my new Chief of Staff and Senior Advisor to the Chancellor. Dallas Grundy is the new Senior Vice Chancellor for Finance and Administration. And Lee Wacker is the new Senior Associate Vice President for Development and Alumni Engagement. I ask that you please join me in welcoming them. And I look forward to all that they are going to bring. Okay, clicker challenges. There we are. If it's not Zoom, I guess it's the clicker. 3 weeks ago, we proudly welcomed the class of 2029 to campus, kicking off with a vibrant welcome week for all incoming students, their families, and their friends. The energy and excitement from incoming freshmen and their families truly brought the campus to life, creating a dynamic residential atmosphere. And coupled with the pride and preparation from our staff, who made our residential halls and campus property shine, it was a marvelous launch of the new academic year for our incoming students. Lots of upper class students came out and volunteered to assist new students and their families as they were moving in. The day progressed with the backyard barbecue in the quad, bringing together over 1,000 students, parents, faculty, staff for an afternoon of food, community spirit. This is was a great way to start and to see all of our new students. And speaking of students, let's segue into enrollment. Great. Enrollment trends are a key indicator of institutional health. As it did at most colleges and universities, the COVID-19 pandemic presented significant challenges regarding Rutgers Camden's enrollment figures. However, our diligent efforts in admissions, enrollment management, student success, and retention have helped us to reverse post-pandemic trends during the past 2 academic years. Is there any place in particular where I should point? Oh, there we are. Okay, yeah, I mean, there we go, to say advanced slide. Great. Rutgers Camden current fall enrollment is up by almost 1%, and this is due to waiting on concretized census data, and we are anticipating that 7% about which the president spoke. This increase is primarily due to first-time and college students, also known as our exceptional class of 2029, who enrolled in a large number for the fall 2025-26 academic year. This speaks to Rutgers Camden's appeal to new generations of students, a result of our proven track record of employment, personal development, and long-term professional success for graduates. Again, while not conclusive, these numbers represent where we are present date. Additionally, I'm very pleased to announce that more students are opting to live on campus. Campus residency is at an all-time high of 97% compared to 84% last year. And a lot of this is due with what our president has already stated when we talk about the increase in our FTIC, or the first time in college undergraduate students as well as our international students. And speaking, okay, that's up already. All right, so let's go back to the international. So we skipped a slide. So let's go, that's where we are. Thank you, Brian. So Rutgers Camden's current international student enrollment has increased in the first time in college students class of 2029 by approximately 83%. The new and continuing graduate student numbers have declined, which may be due to the new guidelines for optional practical training and/or the fact that many of our international students are electing to defer admissions to the spring. Next slide, please. Our 4 and 6 graduation rates are comparable to national averages and continue to increase over time. The metrics are essential to the health of our institution. The student success team at Rutgers Camden is doing an outstanding job making sure that students have the support they need to graduate and to get out and to get a job. Next slide. Likewise, retention rates are strong among all of our demographics. One of the biggest challenges regarding retention in higher education is the phenomenon of students stopping out of college. Our student success efforts have been critical in helping these students resume their college education and ultimately graduating. Next slide. There are many points of distinction for Rutgers University in Camden, and I am delighted to share with you this afternoon just a few. Next slide. Rutgers Camden is proud to hold 3 distinct Carnegie classifications for institutions of higher education. We are an R2 designated Carnegie institution, recognizing the university's substantial research activity, significant investment in research, and extremely strong output of doctoral degrees. We are classified as an opportunity college university due to higher access and higher earnings of members of our student body. And we have secured an elective classification for community engagement. This particular elective classification is very special to us as it is one that defines exactly who we are and our mission and purpose. Additionally, just last month, Washington Monthly named Rutgers Camden one of just 25 best in-class colleges in the entire nation. This unique and prestigious ranking is given to institutions that, quote, show what's possible when colleges put students and the public good first, unquote. The only other institution in the state of New Jersey to make the list was Princeton. So Princeton certainly is in very good company. As noted in the publication's write-up about our campus, they stated, and I quote, the school performs especially well on what we call outcomes, a category that includes graduation rates and how much alumni earn after college. That's not just good news for students, it's a signal that a degree from Rutgers Camden means something in the real world, unquote. This recognition belongs to all of us. It affirms that Rutgers Camden is a place where academic rigor, personal support, and civic purpose meet to create extraordinary impact. Next slide. Our faculty success in securing prestigious grants in our ranking among U.S. News & World Report's top 50 public universities at number 49, top 100 national universities at 98, and number 15 ranking as a top performer in social mobility are not just accolades to be proud of. They are evidence of our unwavering commitment to excellence and equity. We are proud to serve as a model for institutions across the country, and we know that bottom line, everything that we do is for our students. And President Tate, yes, we do have our eyes on being in the top 40 relative to public institutions. So U.S. News & World Report released new rankings on September 29th, and we look forward to sharing those outcomes with you when the embargo is lifted on the 23rd. And just as a teaser, Rutgers Camden continues to rise in all of those categories. Next slide. Our student-centered approach is producing the next generation of leaders, change agents, and difference makers, and organizations across the nation are taking note. The university has received designations from the U.S. Department of Education recognizing our service to minority students and the Asian American Pacific Islander opportunities. Our commitment to student veterans and their families earned Rutgers Camden the title of New Jersey's first Purple Heart University in 2016, and we are proud to have deepened and expanded that commitment throughout the time. There's certainly much conversation happening now due to the loss of due to the loss of MSI funding by the U.S. Department of Education. We received roughly 1.9 million in federal funding for a 5-year period. The potential loss is approximately 1.2 million for the final 3 years of the grant. However, we know that our team has been anticipating this and we have been planning accordingly. A part of that has been lobbying with our elected officials, and we are very grateful that Assemblywoman Carol Murphy was very successful in getting a state appropriation of 3.2 million added back to our budget, which will then help us to continue to do what we do for our students. Next slide, please. As we embark on a new academic year, our budgetary focus remains steadfast, ensuring financial sustainability while making strategic investments that advance our research mission and amplify our impact. Grant funding and institutional advancement are engines of innovation and academic vitality. Encouraging trends in both areas continue to position Rutgers-Camden for success, even amid external volatility. Next slide. I'm pleased to share that Rutgers-Camden secured 20.8 million in grant funding for FY25. This is our second highest total since 2020, a remarkable achievement given the recent deceleration in federal grant funding. The upward trajectory is a testament of the ingenuity and tenacity of our faculty and research teams. Next slide. And even brighter news, we surpassed our FY25 development goal by 1.3 million, raising a total of 7.8 million for the fiscal year. This fundraising success reflects the exceptional work of our advancement team, the Rutgers University Foundation, and the dedicated development professionals here in Rutgers-Camden. Most importantly, it speaks to the enduring generosity of our alumni, current and retired faculty and staff, community partners, and institutional fields. Next slide. Working with our Chief Administrative Officer, Kimberly Lewis, Rutgers-Camden has a number of capital projects underway and others to propose that will expand the footprint of our campus. These projects will improve the quality of our campus in terms of space offerings and amenities to enhance instruction, expand event space, and elevate our beloved community. Next slide. As most of you, almost all of you are aware, the Cooper Street Gateway project is underway. This 20,000 plus square foot project will renovate 4 empty or underutilized properties along Cooper Street to consolidate the faculty and administration of the College of Arts and Sciences and provide modernized instructional spaces for students. Next slide. The project will upgrade significantly the Cooper Street corridor, the historic gateway to Camden's waterfront. The design of more outdoor and pedestrian spaces will add to the vibrancy of our campus for students, faculty, staff, and other guests. Next slide. Rutgers University Camden is advancing plans to transform the historic Ruby Match Factory, a former facility of Campbell's Soup Company at 300 North Delaware Avenue, into a world-class athletic field house and community facility. And working with Tom Tomlinson and those in athletics, we are excited about the possibilities of what this can bring, as I said, for us and our community. The renovation will afford us the opportunity to repurpose and preserve a rare historic structure while creating a world-class year-round training and event center for Rutgers University and the Camden community. The proposed field house will support athletes in a suite of sports ranging from track and field, hockey, and soccer to basketball and wrestling. We also envision this space being utilized for many events and campus-wide celebrations like commencement and concerts, as well as other activities that support student life and serve as a major step in the growth of Rutgers-Camden and Camden City. Next slide. The old Camden Library at 418 Federal Street, a historic 1901 landmark, offers Rutgers-Camden a wonderful opportunity to restore a community icon while advancing our mission of arts education, community engagement, and cultural enrichment. Encompassing approximately 28,000 square feet, a parking lot, and other real estate, the building is strategically located in Camden's Center City District near government offices, adjacent to the Rutgers University Camden Nursing and Science Building, the Rutgers Camden Administration Building, Cooper Hospital, and public transportation. Rutgers Camden envisions the old library building as a cultural and academic hub that celebrates the arts and fosters community arts programming and partnership. The project aligns with broader revitalization efforts in Camden by providing a vibrant space that brings together students, faculty, residents, and partners to advance creativity, innovation, and community engagement. It is also important to note that this property is situated right in the area where Cooper Hospital is planning its $3 billion expansion. So it's a good move for us relative to this. This renovation, ideally located in the heart of Camden downtown, will help rejuvenate Camden's business district and bring in a community of stakeholders who can make use of this space and spend their money in our proposed auxiliary services. And yes, Presidente, this is our articulation of the theory of money at work. These are just a few examples of how we plan to build for our future. At the next meeting, I am hopeful that I can share more information about another project, which will be the Center for Business Innovation, Entrepreneurship, and Living Learning, which will house our business school once CAO Lewis and I have had a chance to thoroughly discuss the feasibility of this project relative to Rutgers University and particularly Rutgers University in Camden. But I also want to thank, regarding that project, our Dean of the Business School, Dean Monica Adia, and her colleagues for giving invaluable input relative to the possibility of this. Next slide, please. Collectively, Rutgers Camden students represent our biggest point of pride. They excel in and out of the classroom and garner some of the most prestigious national awards and prizes. Next slide. Photographed in this slide are two exceptional students. Sophia Westfall, class of 25, earned a Fulbright Award to study English literature and creative writing at Cardiff University in Wales. I recently submitted a letter of support for Sophia as she has her eyes focused on a Rhodes Scholarship in Oxford. And I said this loudly, that Rutgers Camden, we might have our first Rhodes very soon. So we're very excited and we are all rooting for her. Dwayne Horn, class of 2026, was named the second Truman Scholar finalist in Rutgers Camden's history, following in the footsteps of his really good friend, Paul Boyd, who was our first Truman Scholar. Next slide. Learning at Rutgers Camden transcends the classroom, the city, and nation. Through semester-long study abroad programs and/or spring break or weekend academic tours, our students have the chance to gain global perspectives from faculty experts. For example, students of Professor Kimberly Moran, who's the director of Forensic Studies program, spent spring break in Greece studying ancient artifacts. Meanwhile, law students traveled to South Africa to engage with legal professions and communities, deepening their understanding of international justice and society. Next slide. Our faculty and staff are distinguished for their many accomplishments, and here are just two examples. Dr. Daniel Semenza, Associate Professor of Criminal Justice, received a $525,000 fellowship from the Stoneleigh Foundation to study the effect of gun violence on Philadelphia youth. Dr. Yona Kane, Assistant Professor of Psychology, launched Daily Compassion, a meditation app that uses neuroscientific principles to encourage the spread of compassion online and also in person. Next slide. In the photo to the left with Tom Tomlinson, Rutgers Camden's Director of Athletics and Recreation, are Gar Miller, class of 60, and Coach Kulick, head baseball coach here at Rutgers Camden. Alumni couple Gar Miller, class of 60, and his wife, Rhoda Miller, class of 62, have committed to more than doubling their current named endowed scholarship, the Gar and Rhoda Miller Endowed Fund. Gar is a Rutgers Camden two-sport Hall of Famer and world-renowned baseball card and sports memorabilia collector. The other photo on the right features alumnus, the Honorable Stephen Orlovsky. Through Mr. Orlovsky's generosity, the law school recently received an endowed gift of $500,000 to create the Stephen M. Orlovsky Appellate Advocate Fund. The fund will allow the law school to enhance its appellate advocacy curriculum and strengthen the ability to provide a world-class legal education. Next slide. We warmly invite you to come visit and experience all that Rutgers Camden has to offer. Be a part of our vibrant community as we come together to celebrate, engage, and take pride in a place we call home through Division III sports. Our Scarlet Raptor athletic programs are vital to our community. They are a celebration of skillful and academically motivated student athletes who bring energy and excellence to their respective sport. Check out the website for more information, and please, I invite you all to join me for one of their games. Next slide. We also invite you to consider our Year of the Arts in Pursuit of Grace, which is an art exhibition that will be on our campus September 18th through December 13th here in the Center for Fine Arts in our Stedman Gallery. Also, on the 27th of September, three-time Grammy Award-winning jazz saxophonist Arturo Sandoval will be with us here in the Gordon Theater. Both of those are also to celebrate Hispanic Heritage Month. And we definitely invite you back on October 4th, where we will have our Rutgers Camden homecoming from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m., where there will be ample opportunity for fun and for fellowship. Next slide, Mr. Chair and members of the board. This concludes my presentation, and at this time, I will happily answer any questions.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for those words and that thorough review of Rutgers Camden. It's very inspirational. Are there any questions for Chancellor Tillis? Yes.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you, Chancellor Tillis, for the phenomenal presentation. I had the opportunity to talk to some Camden students before coming to the meeting, and I think you phenomenally talked about it in this presentation as well, the increase in the number of students that are on campus. So I'm curious if there's any challenges to like the current capacity that Rutgers Camden can hold, and this could be anything like, you know, event spaces and stuff like that. And you mentioned the increase in construction investments into the Camden campus, but I'm curious, like, you know, those will take a little bit of time. So is there any concerns, or like, should we be concerned about the capacity right now? Can that hold up to the number of students that are increasing every single year that are opting to come to Rutgers Camden? And what do you envision sort of, you know, the event spaces on campus, things to do? You know, I was a commuter in the New Brunswick campus, and so there's a lot of stuff to do on the New Brunswick campus, you know, when you have that 3 or 4 hour time in between classes. So I'm curious, like, you know, what's your vision for that in the long run?
Trustee, thank you so much for that question. First of all, we are excited that we are at the occupancy at 97%. We are hopeful that if we continue to grow year after year and increase that percentage of first-time in college students, and we get more students back who have stopped out, as well as increasing our international enrollment, we will have a good problem. And that good problem will be, we will have to think about what are other types of opportunities. As we think about construction, if we think about capital projects, also a part of those projects have to do with living learning environments for our students, which will create other beds for students as we grow. One of the big pushes relative to the building that's going to house our business school is to create living learning spaces for students that are doing business types of work. Many of our students I met yesterday who have launched a new business. And so to think about business incubation opportunities for our students, so living and learning opportunities, also brings in revenue for us, which is always a good thing at the end of the day. Our enrollment management team are very keen to understand what our capacity is. What is the threshold relative to our physical space of what we can? One of the things that we really don't want to compromise is the sense of community that we have here. And that is really forged by our student faculty ratio. We want to make sure that the ratios are such that our faculty know our students by name and can write recommendations for them. So Trustee, we don't want to be in New Brunswick. We want to do the best that we can and offer it. Trustee Conway, you know I love you. But we want to make sure that Rutgers Camden is a special place because of the intimacy that our students have with our faculty and with our staff. And as we grow, we want to make sure that we maintain that cultural piece that has defined this campus.
Thank you, Chancellor.
Linda Rivers.
Thank you, Chancellor. And again, it was a very inspiring report. You spoke of the increase in international students. Is that because of outreach or exchanges? Like, how do you
Yes.
quantify that?
Trustee Rivers, a part of our strategic plan, which was launched roughly 2.5 years ago, we were intentional about increasing internationalism, not just exposing our students to the world and bringing the world to our students, but international students. We concentrated, as a result, many of you probably remember when the Chronicle of Higher Education stated that Nigeria and Ghana were the new India and China relative to international recruitment. So we focused in on Ghana, we focused in on Nigeria, we focused in on India, we focused in on a couple of other geographies that have paid off. So the investment is definitely shoring up now, and we hope that continues. And that's due to we've also increased our international office. When I got here, we only had probably, I do believe, maybe one FTE, if that, and we have increased the number of persons that are actively recruiting international students. And we're using the international students that we have as ambassadors, such that when they go back to their countries, they can talk to their countrymen and women about their experience at Rutgers Camden, which has paid off. Finally, because Rutgers is a part of the Mandela Scholars Program, we have been able to stay in touch with a lot of those Mandela Fellows. And when we go back to South Africa, as you know, we will have, I think this will be Rutgers Camden's 38th iteration in South Africa. So I make sure that I meet with those fellows and talk to them to create opportunities for our students as well.
Jennifer?
Good afternoon, Chancellor.
Good afternoon, Trustee.
I was struck by the retention rates on slide 9. I hadn't realized that there would be still a drop off between second year and third year. And so we're losing people who put in 2 years of effort, 2 years of expense. I guess I'm just curious, do we track, are people leaving more for money? The classes got too hard. Like, what are the reasons people are leaving? What could we do to support that, to support you in helping these students remain? And then I guess the second part is, do we offer anything? So you get through 2 years, if you were going to community college, you'd have an associate's degree, at least you'd have a credential for 2 years worth of work. So do we have anything like that for the students?
Thank you, Trustee Bender, for those questions. For the first, regarding what happens between, and I think I have a couple of people from my team here, Dr. Jimmy Jong, I see him back there as well. One of the things that our students between the years that you articulated as it relates to retention, that it's a plethora of reasons. Many of them they are parents. They also take care of family members, and oftentimes will make decisions to pause their undergraduate education in order to come back. One of the things that we did find that many students, because of the demographics that we serve, many of our students are first generation and don't understand that oftentimes what they need to do is to start the conversation with us as we reach out to them, that many of them have balances that we could easily help them to cover in order for them to continue their matriculation. So it's a combination of sorts as to why that happens. This is why Jimmy Jong's office and also Dr. Marcia Lowry's office in student services and student success, they have a plethora of initiatives that they put in place in order to, they call our students. So there are conversations between folks on campus and these students in order to see what the challenges are and also how we can bring them back. And if I may, Trustee Bender, what I'd like to do and to send to the board information relative to the types of programs that we have in place that work with our students as they decide to pause their education. So Jimmy, make sure, why don't you come and give some, and then we'd like to do a formal report and send it to the chair to be disseminated.
Just for record, yeah, we are well aware of that gap. That gap in terms of retention is not unsimilar to a lot of commuter campuses. As the chancellor alluded to, education is a priority for our students. it sometimes competes as a number one priority for our students here at Rutgers Camden. Many of them, the vast majority of them have at least one part-time job. And, so in terms of support that we give them, we do call every single student within a cohort. If they came in as FTIC or transfer, we call every student who's eligible to enroll to make sure they have the tools, whether it's financial aid or not as academic support. And sometimes they tell us, we're good. When we're ready to come back, I'll let you know. And then we make sure we follow up with those students.
So I'll call on Chris Foglio next, and then Susan Martin online, and then Linda Caldwell Epps, and that will conclude the questions.
Chancellor, last year you presented a program with the athletic apparel. I just wanted to know if that is continuing.
Yes, it is. I'm really excited about that and also excited to have our bookstore back on campus. And I will ask for you that as you leave to go see what we've done relative to bringing that bookstore back on campus, which streamlined revenue for us. We were losing lots of money with Barnes & Noble, and we decided to just bring it on campus in order to, and it's been absolutely phenomenal. So yes, we are in the throes of that, and more to come on that.
Okay, next, Susan Martin on the Zoom.
Absolutely.
Yes, thank you very much for this really great review of what you're doing. My question is related to immigrant students who are here, given the growth in deportations and the harassment of a lot of people on the basis of their race going on now. What is the college doing to protect the students who may be in jeopardy, as well as faculty and others who are at risk of deportation?
And Trustee Martin, thank you for that question. Once a lot of those efforts were afoot, faculty, staff, and students did, of course, reach out to see. We are proud to say that through our office that deals with immigration of our students, visiting scholars, that we have created a community around them. Fortunately for us, we have not had any incidences, and Jimmy, correct me if I'm incorrect, we have not had any incidences that have caused any of our students to be, or faculty members or international staff or visiting scholars to face any deportation.
Linda.
Thank you.
I think my Douglas colleagues have asked a few of the questions that I had, but one still remains, and that is with your increase in enrollment. Have you noticed any significant changes in majors? What are students requiring, or what are they majoring in these days? And are there any trends that we should be paying attention to?
That's a very good question. We have not captured that yet. One of the reasons is because the census data on our students has not been concretized. And so we're gonna wait until the data is solidified. And then Jimmy and others will mine the data to see if the trends, typically it's been students are interested in criminal justice, students have been interested in psychology, a lot of those, but we have implemented quite a few. I'm curious to see how many of our students are taking advantage of our new degree in financial management and some of the other things that we have instituted for our students within the past couple of years. So this is additional information, Jimmy, that we will make sure that we get back to the board.
With that, we'll close the questions, and thank you, Chancellor Tillis, for your presentation and your frankness in answering some of those questions. I appreciate that very, very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. So we'll talk about board goals for the year next. They were in the materials that were posted. I'm sure you've all looked at those and studied them. And they will soon be projected on the screens, maybe the one behind me and maybe some, there they go. So I'll go through those quickly with you in summary form. The first goal builds on the trustees' role as catalysts for the Scarlet Promise initiative. Yeah, we've been successful at that for 6 years now. And this year we ask again for trustees to give to the Scarlet Promise Endowment Fund. And there'll be a QR code that you can use to quickly get to the correct website to make that gift in just a few minutes. Please remember, it's not so much the amount that you want to give. Of course, bigger is better, but not so much that. But it's the act of participating, which we all promised we would do when we passed the original resolution all those years ago, 6, I guess, to be honest. The second goal is also carried over from previous years. Among trustees' primary roles is to serve as ambassadors for the university, and we all need to do that. Chancellor's presentations and chancellor-run events with invitations to the members of the board will help develop and provide the tools and information necessary to carry out that role of ambassadorship. With that, all of us can speak honestly, frankly, and enthusiastically about Rutgers, and with great confidence. I'm confident that all the trustees will be extremely effective ambassadors this year, and contribute thereby to the Rutgers Edge. And in President Tate's words today, help make a better case for Rutgers University. The third goal came directly from your feedback in the board's retreat last year, where board members asked us for more transparency about succession planning. And that request was repeated in this summer's assessment survey. You'll hear a little bit more about that in a moment. The leadership team and executive committee are currently working on the form that will take. And although it's way too early to talk about what does that look like precisely, I can promise that we will engage members of the board in the development of those descriptors. What does it need? What do you need to be a successful leader? And maybe some idea what the skill sets are for that, so you can see that. And you'll see a lot more soon on that. Probably something before the end of this year, and certainly to close before the end of the school year. Finally, and the fourth and the final goal, the board will be evaluating its committees and task forces because it's become clear that some of the board's committees and task forces' primary focus has expanded from their original purpose, and a lot of the workload that's carried out through the year isn't accurately reflected in their charge. So Squire Servants will will lead an ad hoc group to review those and make some observations and recommendations that we can continue to keep the board as effective as possible. I think this is going to be a really busy year. Hopefully by June, we will find the board stronger, better informed, and more connected than ever, and the best ambassadors ever. So that concludes my discussion of the board goals, or any discussion about or question about any of that. Jeannie.
One question. Will we be able to see things before they're finalized so we can submit comments to the executive committee?
Absolutely.
Okay.
You're going to see that in, well, we'll talk about communications later, but there will be communications regularly. You'll see a lot of that happening there.
You might want to
And-
have a special meeting for people who are interested in commenting on it so we could have a discussion too.
Yeah, there will be some special meetings that we're kind of organizing ourselves around right now. There'll be one during this semester. Okay, then next on our agenda is the report from the Task Force on Assessment. Oh, I'm sorry, Wilma. Can't see her.
Especially in terms of our role as ambassador, has consideration ever been given to having like a cheat sheet of all the wonderful things that. Thank you. I don't know how my voice is strong enough. Has a cheat sheet ever been considered to give to the board members of all the wonderful things that the university is doing, just bullets, so that in conversation, we have the actual facts and a consistent message?
Yes, although I'm going to answer it using a different language than that. We will be preparing and distributing periodically what's going on in the university so that you'll have an idea of what's coming up and be able thereby to make informed decisions on which ones of those you would like to attend or which ones you would like to know more about. We did consider one big list for the whole year, but we thought it's too alive to do that and it changes too frequently. So we would do this periodically. It'll come out in a form of a month included in the form of our monthly reports.
I was thinking less about activities among the campuses, but some of the facts about what Rutgers is doing, what Rutgers has done, like the data that the chancellor just provided on awards that were received by our faculty and students, so that when we're just generally talking, it's all in Rutgers today, but to use my word, a cheat sheet that we could refer to. Just a thought.
Our thought there was to incorporate the chancellor's points of pride that we review at each one of our scheduled board meetings, and to document those or list those and for your use in the reports that we generate. So that phrase, points of pride, that's kind of just what we've been calling things that we're very proud of and that we want to use to inform ambassadorship for the members of the board. And that's what I was speaking about when I talked about ambassadorship and information that you need for that.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
So back to the assessment, that we had a task force of assessment that concluded, and I want to ask now Walt McDonald to present that report for the task force on assessment. And Walter.
Thank you, Chair Johnson. Good afternoon, everybody. The task force on assessment, consisting of fellow trustees Kim, Carol, Monica, and Jay, met in June to review and update the survey, and met again in August to analyze the results. Of course, we had the help of Kim and Pat and the guidance of Ken. In order to measure any trends, the survey has remained largely unchanged over the past several years. The response was excellent, with 36 out of 37 voting trustees and 21 out of 22 active emeriti responding. For the report, the 25 survey questions were classified into 6 key areas: strategic initiatives, continuing education, engagement, board satisfaction and service, goals assessment, and miscellaneous. For the analysis on most of the questions, we focused on the combined percentage of respondents who strongly agree or agree versus those who did not. For the first area, strategic initiatives, most trustees feel that the board has the right mix of skills, and it mostly reflects the population of New Jersey. For improvement, the trustees suggested increased communication, increased updates, and increased social connection. We had one new question this year on committee effectiveness. Overwhelmingly, the trustees think that the committees are effective. For the second area, continuing education, while a little down from last year, the respondents thought that continuing education is valuable and effective. For the third area, engagement, overall, the majority of the trustees think engagement is high. However, there was a slight year-over-year drop in the number of trustees who strongly agree or agree. The drop was from 1 to 4 trustees, depending upon the question. From the comments, the trustees would like to see more communication and better connection with the board and university leadership, especially given that it is new. Also, when possible, extend meeting time to allow for more discussion. As usual, the engagement with the Office of the Secretary remains high. For the fourth area, board service and satisfaction, almost all the trustees find board service rewarding. For the fifth area, goals assessment, there was overwhelming agreement that the board goals were addressed and achieved, slightly up year over year. For the last area, miscellaneous, there was a strong agreement that the board processes help to maintain confidentiality, and they feel that this survey is very comprehensive. For the task force recommendations, the task force recommends that board leadership increase communication and engagement, help trustees better understand the path and opportunity to leadership, continuing education, continue reporting out on the progress on board goals at each meeting, increase the opportunity for additional social interaction, and ask next year's task force to examine the feasibility of correlating some questions with length of trustee service. Chair Johnson, this concludes my report.
Thank you very much. Are there any questions about the report? I think you could hear a lot of what the outcome. Oh, sorry. Jay.
It's not so much a question, but just a statement, Mr. Chair. I just wanted to thank the chair and for you for this process. It's unique to many of the boards that I've served on to do this type of thoughtful analysis. And I think that it provides a tremendous amount of insights, at least it does for me as a second-year board member, to see kind of what you've all seen and kind of see what other board members are looking at. But I think it also just from Ken being a part of it and incorporating it with the exec board, just really learned a lot. So this was really unique to me, and to be a part of this process and for us to do it is something really valuable that actually I'm taking to other service that I have. But just to really do kind of a 360 with all of us kind of weighing in was really valuable. So thank you for the ability to be a part of the process, but also thank you to the trustees and the emeriti for really participating, because we read through everything all the way down to the comments and the feedback and really took everything that was submitted and kind of weighed it in. And if you don't believe me, you can ask Pat on the side, because all the comments all the way down, we looked at everything. So thank you all for taking time during the summer to fully participate, because I think it leads to us being a better entity to support the institution. So just want to say that, Mr. Chair.
We read through everything 4 times, Jay.
Thanks, Jay. You'll see the results of this assessment survey embedded in our goals and operations for the year. And if it's not obvious, it will become obvious as the year starts and we start developing a little bit more detail. At this time, I want to so thank you very much, well, and to the whole team for a hardworking summer to get all that done. Calling attention to the meeting minutes for June 17th, 2025. They were posted on the portal, and I'm wondering, are there any additions or corrections that anybody wants to observe? Well, hearing none, I want to call for a motion to accept the minutes as written. Jean, thank you. Second, Mary. Is there any further discussion on that? If not, all in favor of accepting as written?
Aye.
Yay. And are there any dissensions? Or I guess the motion carries. Next, I'll turn this over to Vice Chair Mary Papamarco to speak about the fiscal year 2026 spending allocation, and I'll let her introduce that discussion. Mary.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The fiscal year 2025 Committee on Trustee Philanthropy evaluated student need and assessed whether the current allocation of funds was an accurate reflection of that need. This process included an analysis of qualitative and quantitative data from sources around the university and culminated in a report issued last June by the committee that contained recommendations for a reallocation of the funds to more accurately reflect the student need at each chancellor-led unit. Members of the board, the proposed resolution before you today is the result of that thoughtful analysis. Mr. Chair, I so move.
Second. Second. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? The motion carries.
Thank you.
Now I'd like to ask Vice Chair Gary Chapaka to introduce the next two resolutions regarding easements on trustees-owned land.
Great, thank you, Mr. Chair. The board is asked to consider and consent to two proposed easements for PSENG. Both easements will benefit the university by providing access to enhanced power infrastructure. The Board of Governors is expected to consider and act upon the easements during its October 16th meeting. Accordingly, the board's consent is contingent upon Board of Governors approval. I'd like to ask Ms. Kimberly Lewis, Executive Vice President for Administration, to present the easement for Rutgers, New Brunswick.
Good afternoon and thank you. The first easement is for the Rutgers, New Brunswick campus. It's an easement allowing PSE&G to come in and upgrade their power station to a high voltage station. It's connecting two lines through the campus, specifically the Cook Douglas campus. This project has the potential to allow Rutgers to upgrade its own power station on the Cook Douglas campus without the expense, because PSE&G will be spending their funds to make this upgrade. So it's a $20 million savings to us in the future when we would need to upgrade to high voltage electricity for projects on Cook Douglas.
Thank you, Kimberly. Mr. Chair, I move the proposed resolution consenting to the negotiation and execution of an easement agreement with Public Service Electric and Gas Company at Rutgers, New Brunswick.
Is there a second?
Second.
Yes. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? No. Any abstentions? No. The motion carries. Mr. Chapaka?
Ms. Lewis, will you please continue with the easement for Rutgers Camden?
Yes, sir. The second easement is for Rutgers Camden. It is associated with the Cooper Street Gateway. This is the project Chancellor Till has just provided an update on. Ground has been broken and the project is expected to be completed by the end of 2026. This project, again, is an upgrade of existing utility poles on Rutgers property. It is less than a half an acre that will be included in the easement, and this will assist us with bringing the Cooper Street Gateway to fruition.
Thank you. Mr. Chair, I move the proposed resolution consenting to the negotiation and execution of an easement agreement with PSE&G at Rutgers Camden.
Can I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? The motion carries. Thank you very much. I'll turn the floor over to Mr. Robert Friedman, Chair of the Nominating Committee, to present the report of that committee.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Over the summer, the nominating committee convened to thoughtfully consider candidates for trustee emeriti status. This was done in accordance with the recently amended bylaws of the Board of Trustees and the operating procedures of the nominating committee. As you may recall, the board engaged in meaningful deliberation last year to ensure that the number of emeriti trustees remains proportionate to the number of voting members. This led to a more rigorous standard for selection. As a reminder, candidates for emeriti status will be reviewed annually, and several individuals will remain eligible for consideration over the next 5 years. This year, the committee reviewed a group of highly accomplished individuals whose dedication to Rutgers and service to this board have been commendable. The decision was not easy, but the committee reached a clear and unanimous consensus in support of one outstanding candidate. Mr. Chair, on behalf of the nominating committee, I am honored to recommend the following for designation as trustee emerita: Heather C. Taylor. Mr. Chair, I so move.
Second.
Is there a second? There is a second. Any discussion? Yes.
I certainly agree that Heather is definitely someone we want to give this designation to. But is there any limit in the how many you can recommend at this time? Because you only recommended one.
Yeah, the amended bylaws provide for up to 3 trustee emeriti to be selected annually. This committee chose one person to be selected currently, though many have remaining eligibility throughout the years.
And how many did you in fact have
So
that were eligible?
right. So with respect to eligibility, and Secretary Potts, please correct me if I'm wrong, I believe that there were 19 trustees who were eligible for emeriti status. Notice was sent to them asking for those who wish to be considered to send in a statement for our consideration. And Kim, I believe it was 9 who sent in a statement for consideration.
That is correct.
Thank you.
Sure.
No other questions?
Mr. Chair, that concludes the report of the nominating committee.
We did not vote. So all in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed or abstentions? That motion carries. Thank you very much.
And now, Mr. Chair, that concludes.
So now the report from the Committee on Trustee Philanthropy. Dina Elkins, please make that report.
Thank you, Chairman Johnson. As was laid out in your goals, a good amount of the committee's work this year will be ensuring that the board achieves its goal of 100% participation in giving to the Scarlet Promise Endowment. A QR code to make this easier has been included in your materials and is currently up on the screens to make it as easy as possible for anybody who's ready to make that gift now. We appreciate it. In addition to achieving the goal for the year, the committee will also continue its work from last year, trying to determine student need at each chancellor-led unit in order to inform the distribution of the board's pre-existing endowment funds. Mr. Chairman, that concludes my report.
Thank you very much. Could turn to Dr. LeCadre for a report on diversity and inclusion and outreach.
Thank you, Chair Johnson. The committee met a few weeks ago with the primary purpose to review the needs of the board, and you will see those conversations reflected in the call for nominations, which will come out later this week. The committee will be primarily focused on enhancing its outreach function for the year, which will include the development of tools previously discussed, such as the pamphlet, which you will find at each of your seats, and a short video that we have projected to work on that can be used for outreach to various organizations. And that concludes our report, Chair.
Thank you very much. And now I'd like Ms. Foglio to report on the task force on legislative engagement.
Thank you. This year, the Task Force on Legislative Engagement will be working to reconceptualize the way the board approaches engagement with our legislature. The task force will be working closely with the Office of Government Relations to figure out the most effective use of trustees' efforts and time. You may notice that this means that the board may not be doing all of the initiatives that it has done in the past and may incorporate new ones. You'll hear more about the work of this task force as we move through the year. And before I conclude my report, I wanted to just underscore that I am a beekeeper, that has been authorized under Rutgers. And the honey that is in front of you, I think, Mr. President, is in the top 10 of honey in the state. So hopefully you will all enjoy, and that concludes my report.
Are there any questions from anybody in the room about any of those committee reports? Since I didn't ask at the end of each one, I'm kind of trying to cover my tracks with that comment. Any questions at all? Okay.
Excuse me, with the task force on legislative, I know in the past, in the very beginning, when they instituted it, we talked about trying to have a Capitol Hill Day that which never quite happened, for the board members to in fact go to Trenton and engage our various representatives. So if that's something on consideration and maybe as your committee could review.
So I know in conversations with Francine, she has a pretty aggressive agenda. I think the most important thing is that anyone's time that's invested should be as valuable as possible. I'll be very honest, I've been on this committee. There has been some pushback sometimes with the legislature not really wanting to make that time. So I think we're going to try to be a little more innovative. Last year, there was a great showing at the League of Municipalities where we could engage with a variety of legislators. So I'm very excited that Francine really has I think, a dynamic approach. And you're right, we're going to try to get FaceTime for trustees that would like to participate.
Okay, thank you very much for all three of you for those reports. I want to share some other enhancements that have been made to strengthen our board in collaboration with other boards of the university. And two that I wanted to highlight today: the chair of the Trustee Philanthropy Committee now serves as ex officio on the Foundation Board of Directors in partnership. And that was created in partnership with Dan DiFilippo, who is chair of the Board of Directors. And I think that's a really good step because it helps our two boards communicate at that level. The chair of the Joint Committee on Investments now holds an ex officio seat on the Finance and Facilities Committee of the Board of Governors. And that is thanks to the strategic foresight of Amy Towers, chair of the Board of Governors. And I think that adds a lot of value, connecting investments and finance and facilities expenditure. So I think both of those will be foster a deeper alignment between like activities in different boards. It'll help us with more clarity of our messaging going forward. As you heard in Walt McDonald's report assessment survey, that it also indicated a very strong desire for more information and communications. It's the plan of the board, or it's my plan, to create monthly reports in probably an email form to let you know our progress on each of these elements and to inform you about upcoming chancellor invitations to invite and invitations to exciting events, and also to remind us of points of pride that we've reviewed as a team in these board meetings. So you'll be seeing those very, very shortly. So at each meeting of the board, we have invited all four chancellors to come and speak with us about things that make them happy or proud, or things that they need us to help with on each of their campuses and each of their chancellor-led units. We did hear from Chancellor Tillis about that. And so now I would like to open that discussion to other chancellors. So I would like Chancellor Francine Conway from New Brunswick to start this.
Thank you, Chair Johnson, members of the board, and colleagues.
Okay.
I want to begin with a simple idea. When a university embraces bold curiosity, it doesn't just bring big questions, it dares to answer them. At Rutgers, New Brunswick, that is our mission every single day. We're not just keeping pace with discovery, we're shaping the future of health, technology, and sustainability. Next slide. So for 5 consecutive years, could you go back one? Thanks. For 5 consecutive years, Rutgers has brought in more than 330 million annually in research awards, supporting nearly 2,000 projects each year. But behind those numbers are stories. A student in the lab late at night, a professor pursuing an idea that can change lives, a partnership connecting New Jersey to the world. One example stands out, the Protein Data Bank, housed right here at Rutgers. It is the world's open access library of 3D biomolecular data relied on by millions of scientists worldwide. Thanks to Rutgers' leadership, it has secured recently $51 million in funding through 2029. This will fuel discoveries that will save lives. Next slide. And beyond those stories, the momentum is unmistakable. Research expenditures are up 9%. We have launched 71 startups. Faculty have earned nearly 2,000 individual awards each year. And Rutgers counts 19 AAAS fellows and 83 members of national academies amongst its scholars. And we manage 930 active technologies and more than 1,000 active patents. Together, these metrics show Rutgers' growing strength as a hub of research and innovation. Next slide. The world needs urgent answers. Rutgers is stepping up with bold interdisciplinary initiatives, like the Climate and Energy Institute, that's training the next generation of clean energy leaders through hands-on fellowship, or the RAD Collaboratory for AI and data science, with 13 new faculty across disciplines that puts us at the center of the AI revolution. And this fall, we will launch the Life Sciences Alliance, uniting genetics, neuroscience, nutrition, psychology, and more to unlock the mysteries of life itself. So the next frontier is the RU Max, which is an initiative that excites me personally. It's the Rutgers Materials Across Scales. I would say about 30 faculty members came together to develop a $20 million proposal. Actually, it's 43 faculty members working to design materials that can withstand the heat of nuclear reactors or power emission to space. That's Rutgers thinking and acting at scale. When faculty work together, we can make a big difference. And we're not just looking at the horizons, we're solving today's problems too. But nearly 400 solar panels rise above Rutgers farmland, testing agrivoltaics, which is solar energy and farming coexisting. I had to look that up. Our engineers with DARPA and HHS are developing ways to make life-saving medicines available on demand, where and when patients need them. And I know that my colleague will talk more about the Helix, which is an anchor for innovation in health. Looking ahead, the true measure of Rutgers is not only what we've accomplished, but what we're daring to do next. Our aspiration is clear, to position Rutgers, New Brunswick amongst the top 10 public research university in the nation. We will achieve this by strengthening our chancellor's signature initiatives, some of which I've mentioned to you, deepening our leadership in technology and sustainability, In fiscal 2027, we will launch the Behavioral Health and Equity Initiative, promoting wellness, resilience, and equitable approaches to understanding, preventing, and diagnosing and treating mental health challenges and addiction. We also award seed funding to faculty to build new scholarly communities in our 4 signature initiative areas. And these communities include gun violence, artificial intelligence, the future of learning, work, and life, life sciences, and behavioral health. As central to all of this, of course, are our students, undergraduate and graduate alike, are in the lab, in the field, and in conversation, learning by doing and shaping the next generation of knowledge. We are making sure that our students are having these experiential learning opportunities that will lead to career options. And in closing, I'd like to say, here's the vision for New Brunswick. Rutgers, New Brunswick is a new kind of research university. It's an ecosystem where disciplines converge, where students thrive, and where society's biggest challenges are met head-on. This isn't only about research numbers or rankings. It's about impact, resilience, and it's about ensuring that Rutgers is not just part of the future, but helping to invent it. Thank you for being our partners on this bold journey, and I look forward to bringing you future points of pride. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So I'd like to call on Chancellor Brian Strom, Chancellor of Rutgers Health, for points of pride.
Thank you all. I was told not to give slides, so I saved you my 100-slide talk. But I will highlight 7 points I'd like to make of points of pride. First is research funding. In aggregate, Rutgers Health in our existence over the last 12 years has brought into Rutgers more than $4 billion in extramural grants and contract funding. Our faculty now generate more than $600 million a year in research grants and sponsored programs, including a 19% increase in submissions and an 8% increase in awards in fiscal year 25, particularly notable given the chaos of what's been happening in Washington. This is close to a tripling of sponsored awards since our founding in 2012. No other data point can better illustrate the excellence, ingenuity, and resilience of our faculty. Second, as a specific example, a research breakthrough of significance is the discovery by Dr. Randall Panettiere, which promises to diagnose asthma and determine its severity with a simple blood test. Today, sophisticated breathing tests are needed to diagnose asthma, which can be challenging, especially for young children. Ray and his team are currently working with companies to develop and commercialize a point of care test. These breakthroughs may be familiar to you if you follow Rutgers football, as Ray's work is being featured in our Big Ten advertising this season. And those who are on Health Affairs Committee will see, in case you haven't seen it on the football this season, we'll see it at the committee meeting on Thursday. Third, cancer research. Among numerous other research innovations, I'd like to highlight Dr. Christian Hendricks. Christian leads the cell therapy program at the Rutgers Cancer Institute of New Jersey, including the GMP manufacturing facility. He has pioneered in immunologic cell therapy for solid tumors, the first therapy to cause durable, complete responses in solid tumors in people who have failed all other therapies. It is truly the cure for cancer. If you've heard of CAR T therapy, that works very well in liquid cancer, which is 10% of cancers. The remaining 90% of the solid cancers that this is the target for. This is the only place in the country that such therapy is available. Advertising about this will start soon. Fourth, on an education front, Rutgers Health continues to exemplify academic excellence. We host an array of nationally top-ranked graduate programs, as evidenced by the recently published U.S. News and World Reports rankings. For example, the Rutgers School of Nursing is #4 in the country in Doctor of Nursing Practice. As a second example, the School of Health Professions is #3 in the country in physician assistance programs. And I was recently told that the Ernest Mario School of Pharmacy is now the most competitive school in the country, of any pharmacy school in the country. The fifth of my 7 points, capital construction. We're well on our way to fulfilling key components of the Rutgers Health Capital Master Plan. A new university building has arisen on the New Brunswick skyline. This Rutgers Health building, which is the first new building in the existence of Rutgers Health, it will be the anchor will be the anchor tenant of the 3-building Helix site on Albany Street. It is there, it is visible. We will begin tours next month, and the building is scheduled to open in the spring. Our next door neighbor, that building, by the way, will be the home to Robert Wood Johnson Medical School, 80 wet and dry bench researchers, and a biotech innovation incubator facility as well. Our next door neighbor on the Hillock site will be the new headquarters for Nokia Bell Labs, which has broken ground now. There will be a very tall residential building built behind us, which will include dormitory housing space for the first time for our medical students, who right now have no place else to live except in community apartments. Another capital notable, our faculty have moved into the new ambulatory medical pavilion and the new Morris Cancer Center in New Brunswick, both built by our partners at RWJ Barnabas Health. We're also revitalizing a newer campus, making steady progress on the wholesale renovation of the medical science building. Our faculty have also moved into the new emergency room, constructed, just announced last week, just opened last week by University Hospital in Newark, so that we can provide state-of-the-art care to our patients there. Someday in private, I'll tell you what it was like before, but only in private. And in collaboration with the EDA and University Hospital in Newark, after a too long 50+ year lifespan, probably more like 60 years, we're finally tearing down half of the temporary administrative complex buildings on Bergen Street. They were the temporary home of the medical school 60 years ago, and replacing them with a new administrative building and parking garage. That'll be the opening of a number of different capabilities there. Number 6 of 7, in 2023, the Board of Governors voted unanimously to pursue a single accreditation for our 2 medical schools to create a new Rutgers School of Medicine. A single medical school will provide a stronger, more comprehensive medical education program to meet the challenges of the future, as well as better medical care for our patients. Deans Robert Johnson and Amy Murtha are now leading the accreditation and integration process, which is now proceeding extremely smoothly. This effort represents the collective work of literally hundreds of faculty, staff, students, community members, and administrators. Significant milestones have already been reached in shaping the future School of Medicine, including a single set of school-wide competency-based education and training goals, a new hybrid student admissions process, aligned academic calendars, aligned grading systems, and new joint bylaws. Preparations are underway for the accrediting body's site visit in January, already scheduled. We have the date in January 26, with a target date for full accreditation of June 27. Finally, number 7, honorific societies. Rutgers Health has been vigorously supporting the nomination and election of our faculty members to national honorific societies to appropriately recognize and celebrate their achievements. Today, over 200 of our faculty have joined the ranks of prestigious honor societies like the American Association for the Advancement of Science and the American Society for Clinical Investigation. Some of our renowned research leaders received significant honors this year as well. Dr. Shauna Hudson of Robert Johnson Medical School was elected to the National Academy of Medicine for her seminal work to address vital U.S. health system implementation challenges for vulnerable populations. Dr. Antonina Mitrovanova, I can never pronounce her name right, of our School of Health Professions, was honored with the U.S. government's highest recognition for exceptional early career scientists and engineers, the Presidential Early Career Award for Scientists and Engineers. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'd like also to call on Chancellor Tanya Smith-Jackson from Rutgers Newark. I believe Chancellor is online. Yes.
All right. Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for your patience as I'm trying to be two board meetings at the same time, but we're making it work, it looks like. And for those of you that I have not met yet, I have not met many of you, but I look forward to meeting you certainly in person, probably at the next meeting. Rutgers University Newark has many points of pride that we are sharing, and I will be make sure that I'm brief in sharing them. We have honed them down to about 5. So our enrollment continues to grow, and that is great news. Since 2022, we continue to increase our total enrollment. We are now up since fall 22 by 7.2%. As we approach the census date in October, the numbers are looking great as well, and we expect to exceed our projections. This year, we launched the One Stop Student Services Center, which is really all about student experience. We are combining and pulling together several requirements that students have in order to get established for the semester: financial aid, advising, registration, parking passes, et cetera. And so this year we launched, or this fall, we launched the One Stop Student Services Center so that they can do that, all of that in one building. Now, some of you who may be alumni, you may remember having to go from building to building to get things done. Well, we're making sure our students have a great experience and one where the processes and requirements that they have are in one place so that they can then be off to a successful start and not exhausted, okay, by the end of the first couple of weeks of school. Rutgers University Newark is ranked by U.S. News and World Report as 5th in the nation for social mobility. We moved up last year from 21st to 5th, and the number of universities who were assessed in the rankings was 433. So we are 5th in the nation out of 433 universities. Our anchor mission remains very strong, and we're now committed to coupling our anchor mission with aspirations to move from Research 2 to Research 1, from very high research classification to from high research classification to very high research classification. We have an advantage in that we are able to couple our anchor mission with our research strength. Not a lot of institutions can do that. It means, though, that we will also have an economic impact in the local and regional areas around us as we move towards R1. So it is part of our anchor mission. In this commitment, and for fiscal year 25, this past year, Rutgers University Newark received 105 research grants totaling $30 million in extramural funding. So in terms of our active research grant portfolio right now, we have 400 active grants and funded at $150 million. I wanted to highlight 2 examples of our research and anchor work combined, how we have successfully coupled our work with the community with our research and scholarship. One of those is what's called RUBIC, the Rutgers Brain Imaging Center, which leads an alliance, a national alliance on aging and the brain. It's one of the largest of its kind. This particular group has been able to acquire 105 new grants in FY25, totaling $30.6 million, and they have over 165 unique principal investigators, accounting for $150 million in research. And this too shows the level of collaboration and leadership that Rutgers University Newark has positioned itself, particularly in the areas of brain imaging and neuroscience overall. We look forward to making sure that we are working with RBHS as well, or Rutgers Health, because there's just so much more that we can leverage by collaborating between the 2 institutions. And then another example I wanted to share is what we sometimes don't think of as research, but actually is formally classified as research. And that's work that's being done through the Institute for Jazz Studies, which is right here in Newark. It is the largest of its kind across the globe. It supports our anchor commitment and research work because several archivists, we spend money so that we have things in the archive that researchers can come to from anywhere in the world, and most recently London and Tokyo, in order to understand various aspects of the history of jazz. They have manuscripts and letters from great jazz artists. We have the largest Count Basie collection. And overall, outside of the Smithsonian Institution and one other location globally, we are the largest we have the largest jazz collection for the study of jazz. We hold over 200,000 sound recordings, 6,000 monographic titles, and 300 archival collections, as well as numerous instruments that once belonged to greats such as Louis Armstrong, Ella Fitzgerald, Mary Lou Williams, and of course, Count Basie. So this institute positions us on the globe to have a unique niche or a niche in a particular area of research, and we plan to leverage that even further as we move and increase our research expansion over time. But again, ensuring it's grounded in our anchor mission so that as we achieve Research One, the community around us is also benefiting from the economic benefits that occur when you do Research One. When you get to Research One. So we're proud of the gains we've made thus far. I look forward to sharing more information with you all as we go forward. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you very much. Forgive me for waiting until now, but are there any questions for any of the chancellors after those inspiring comments made for our benefit? Yeah, Linda.
Not so much a question, but a comment. Thank you, all three of you, for emphasizing not only what you were doing in the classroom. I know that's where the bread and butter is in the grants, but also what you're doing for the community and for realizing that the relationship, we are the state university of New Jersey, and that the relationship with our public is important. So I congratulate you for your continuing education programs that reach many of those in the state who are not fortunate enough to have a college degree. Just thank you and keep up the good work. And occasionally, I for one, would like to keep hearing reports about the out of the classroom experience you're providing for members of the community.
Jean?
Thank you. This is actually a question I had for the Chancellor of Camden before. When I was in law school a long, long time ago, the 70s, we started a child care center, actually two of them, and a battered women's shelter at Rutgers Camden. Do we have childcare available actually now for faculty and for students? Because a lot of students are single parent, and I don't know if Newark does anymore, or I know at the Douglas campus, there's always been a childcare center there, but what's the situation? Because so many, mostly women, but so many young parents have children, they need to work, they want to go to school, and they have a problem with the kids.
Thank you, Trustee. To my knowledge, we do not have a dedicated quote unquote child care, but what we do have is a partnership with LEAP Academy, which also has from cradle to college. And many of our employees, they are part of LEAP Academy, and their children are in school enrolled at LEAP Academy as early as I think LEAP starts taking young children in infancy by 3 months all the way up to when they graduate. So I know that many of our faculty.
I know
do
your students
use
who are LEAP with Gloria, it's a great organization. She's had it there forever, Gloria Santiago.
Yes.
Are students made aware of it?
Yes, they are.
Marty, did you have your hand raised?
Yes, I want to follow up on Jeannie's question. We are affiliated, there's Southern Rutgers Resources for Children, and they provide childcare. And because of budget cuts, as of July 31st, they cannot take any more applications. So is this something that maybe we can assist in and maybe get involved in? Because I know the different budget cuts, which is a follow-up to Jeannie's, that a lot of our young people, particularly our young women, the barrier to their furthering their education or even going into the workforce is because of the lack of childcare.
So Trustee, I will add this to my third that I will circle back to the board on.
I think Greg Bender was next on the hand raise. Bob Friedman.
Okay, they both raised that.
This is directed, I think, to Francine, and your presentation, and Mike may have some input into it. I note the 71 startups, over 1,000 patents and many technologies. To what extent and how is the university monetizing those, I presume, quite valuable scientific inventions and companies?
Thank you. So the patents and startups do lead to revenue to the institution. I can get the number for you, but the latest stats that I saw, Rutgers is number 4 in the Big Ten in terms of patent revenue. So we're doing pretty good. Mike?
We also obtain equity in many of these startups that can convert into economic value down the road.
Yeah, that was actually part of my question, whether or not we're able to capitalize on any equity position in those startups. Yeah. Thank you.
And if I can add, the part of the design of the Rutgers Health Building on the Helix site, it very deliberately, it puts the medical school there, it puts 80 new labs there, and it has incubator space with the idea, and it has core facilities that will serve both our labs and the new companies, incubator space. The idea is to spin off companies that come out of our research.
So one last question, Nimesh is on Zoom. And Nimesh, do you still have a question?
Mr. Chancellor, thank you for the opportunity. To all of our chancellors, thank you very, very much. I would ask that maybe in the future is to challenge us, the Board of Trustees, both active and the emeriti, as to what we can do for you. I think you're doing great work for the communities, for our students, for our faculty, and certainly for the state of New Jersey. I would challenge all of you to tell us during your presentations what we can do for you to continue to extend the mission. And so with that, I just want to say thank you. Just absolutely terrific work and terrific results.
So I want to echo that. I want to say thanks, all 4 chancellors. This was inspiring. And for the first time out, I think you all did a great job. I'm really pleased. So we look forward to, in a few months, hearing how we're doing on those initiatives and more. And can we have a round of applause for our staff? That concludes our prepared content. Are there any additional old business that
Mr. Chair, I don't have any really old business, but I do have a point of pride. I want to speak to, I didn't get a chance to speak to the Scholar Promise grants. I just wanted to commend the Board of Trustees for their continuing diligent support of the Scholar Promise grant. My quick math said that with what you have approved today in terms of the resolution, there are at least 2,500 students who have been supported by the Scholar Promise grants. I think that's worth a big point of pride. And my final point, Wilma mentioned about a cheat sheet. When I was in that role of leadership, I often carry the Scholar Promise Grants cheat sheet around with me. You'd be surprised how engaging it is. I would recommend that be part of the script as you continue your ambassadorship for the Rutgers community. That's all I have, Mr. Chair.
Great idea. Is there any new business? Jean?
I just have a question. Did Rutgers grow this honey or did we steal it off the street? I mean, where did this come from? I couldn't hear you.
So I am a licensed beekeeper from the, right? And so today I brought our honey that we grow on Carter Road in Princeton, or that we harvest on Carter Road in Princeton. It was started by my daughter when she was in high school. I didn't put a label because we actually sell it and I didn't want to have a conflict. The little company is called Bark and Bee, and the profits from the honey go to the Save Dog Rescue. So we save the bees and the bees save the dogs. So enjoy.
So before we adjourn, please note, board members, the call for nominations will be going out early this year. In fact, I think they're coming out tomorrow. Please consider making a nomination for anyone in your networks that may add value and become a good member of the Board of Trustees. And please put their nominations forward. So now I ask for a motion. Yes.
I just wanted to comment that these pamphlets that we created are available through the Office of the Secretary, if any of you would like to take them to when you do your outreach.
Okay. Now I'd like a motion to adjourn. So, second? All in favor? Aye. There aren't any opposed, are there? Meeting is concluded. Thank you very, very much.
Send the gavel.